Good news, everybody. You're Pexin with the Legends. We are your hosts from the Gamer News editing team. My name is Eric, and this week, I promise, I'm gonna finish my Battle Pass.
I still don't believe you. I'm Lumbago, or you can call me Whitney, and I may finish my Battle Pass on Xbox, which I bought at the beginning of the season, and I don't even think I've played one game this entire season because I've only been playing on PC.
And
So
I'm
keep
Andrew.
my 110 levels. Sorry.
I've just interrupted Lumbago. That's what I do here. I'm Finn. I interrupt people, and I finished my battle pass. So not only can I interrupt my co-hosts, I can flex that I got the battle packs done. I can kick back, enjoy a nice drink. Hope everyone's doing great.
Hopefully, everyone finished their Battle Passes, and I'm the last one that's still working on it. But I'm at 103, so it's gonna be fine. Everybody, relax.
I was very unrelaxed about that.
So
I'm now relaxed.
we took a 2-week break when we finished the Broken Ghost questline. There wasn't much that happened, thankfully, but we're back. So let's get caught up. We have our last week of challenges is this week. We'll have one more week of season 5 afterwards. We'll be running not we, but they will be running a special event. It is the Always Be closing, as we had last season, I think it was, during the Grand Soiree. But this time it's Always Be closing evolved. So not only is the circle constantly closing from the second the round starts, the second the game starts, but also you will drop in with a Mozambique and an Evo shield. So will we be playing Always Be closing evolved, Whitney?
I wasn't. Is this also the one? There was one, okay, so that every day that they had the circle at the same place. That's not the one, though. This is
No.
it's going to be at different places.
This
Okay,
is normal circle. It just never stops closing the whole time.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't crazy about the one that just had the circle in the same place because those games just kind of got everybody knew where to land and they just got kind of boring.
Mhm.
But I like the Always Be closing. I'm trying to remember because I did play not a bunch of it, but a fair amount. And I think with the Evo shields, it does add another layer of pressure. But I do think it's a good end of season. You're tired of sweating ranked, or you're just tired of running pubs. Not much has changed. So let's just switch it up and do something different for a few weeks. So I'm into it. I mean, I think it's certainly better than not doing anything in these last few weeks. So
Yeah, and if I remember right, this was the playlist that originally had the slight oversight when they introduced it, and that when the first zone appeared, if you could be in it, I think, and then it would continually be closing too. So you potentially couldn't even escape the zone. I forgot.
Yeah.
I think there was some interesting quirk with it
You're
where
totally
players were
right.
like, "What the heck?" And then they fixed it almost immediately. But it was funny just for a day.
Yeah, if you stayed in the ship too long, then you would drop in the circle or something. You would
Yeah,
never
it was
make it
something
out.
weird. Yeah, it was just some small thing where you pretty much would, if you were positioned poorly, you would never escape.
Yeah.
You would just instantly die.
Yeah, so this is a fun way, like Whitney was saying, to mix things up at the end of the season when there's no more challenges. Give everybody a chance to finish any of the challenges they haven't yet, like me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but during the Grand Soiree, didn't we have a different game mode every day for a week? Didn't it change every day to something else?
I think it was 2 days or 3
Yeah.
days.
It was 2
but
days at a time.
It was 2 days, yeah. And then 7 game modes. So it was 2 weeks of that.
Okay. So this is just 1 week. I don't think Always Be closing is cool enough to hold my attention for a whole week. I would much rather see it change every day or every other day for this last week into some. I mean, we have enough different wacky game modes now that they could just throw in a rotating playlist for this last week. I think that would be a more exciting lead up to season 6 than just here's basically the same Apex with a small change in that the circle's always closing. Now, I know it makes the games different, but personally, once I've played Always Be closing once or twice, I feel like I got it,
Mhm.
I'm not going to spend a week grinding Always Be closing. But I think the expectation, though, is that everybody comes back for the beginning of the next season. So this is just a little treat if you're an Apex full-timer like us.
Yeah.
So it's fine. I'm not mad about it.
Well, I also think that it's one of those things that and you're running up to the end of season, they already know how to do both these game modes. They already have the code base for it. So it really wasn't that hard to stack them on top of each other. Whereas to try to create something new and different, if they had tried to do something like the one that was the Mirage Winter Train thing.
Mhm.
Like, to try to build an entirely new experience would have been kind of rough if, like, coronavirus is going on, everyone's working remote. So this is
Yeah.
something they could do to would be a little bit different. But, you know, again, with the Evo Shield option, you know, incorporating a few things that we've seen in the past, but putting them together in a new way.
Yeah.
And out of all the previous playlists, I think this one's a decent one because I do actually enjoy it. I'd say more than some of the other ones because if anything, it sort of pushes the players together a little more quickly, so you can get into the action a little more,
Mhm.
perhaps get into more complicated fights. So this is one of the playlists that I'm more likely to play over pubs, just standard, if I'm not ranking or whatever. So I don't mind it, but like you said, it's not that special. It's just
Yeah.
okay.
I think I prefer this to something like snipers and shotguns, armed and
Yeah.
dangerous. And also, if you are a sweaty like Andrew, a game mode where the circle is pushing everyone together faster makes for like higher action. Like I'm sure the games are a lot more fun because you don't end up in those lobbies where you can't find anyone for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So the games are shorter, faster paced. That is cool. Okay, so we have two sort of big topics for today. We got a trailer for next season, which revealed a ton of information. That's what we're going to talk about first. We'll watch the trailer and then talk about everything in it. Our other topic is more along the lines of what's not coming next season or what seems to not be coming next season. We're going to talk about Olympus. So let's start with the trailer.
Right. Sheila and I are ready to dance. Are you?
Hey, yeah, I can dance. Who's Sheila?
Well, there you have it. Apex Legends Season 6 boosted. I think there was a ton of information that we saw in there, but first and foremost, we have our new legend. Her name is Rampart. She is a bubblegum chewing expert modder with a giant chain gun. Yeah, what do you think, Whitney?
This is amazing. Number one, I think that this is really fascinating. I do not know, like we've sort of known from the leaks that Rampart was going to be a potential character.
Yeah.
I think the theory was that it was going to be a male character. So I'm really,
That's
really
true.
cool. Like I think it's cool as a female character. It appears to be a female character. And then I also think it's very interesting that we don't know much about this character from a lore perspective. So it is very, very, very out of left field. So you know that like in most of the previous season, I'd say season one aside, where we got Octane, they sort of started to seed who the character was going to be in a really smart and clever and like, oh gosh, I can't believe I didn't realize that kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And unless I'm totally missing something, we haven't had a lot of that for this character. And I think that that's very clever. I think that one of the things that we learned with Forge is that if you really give data miners too much to go on, it really spoils the fun for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if they really did just choose to just be like, well, we're not even going to put those pieces into it. And we're going to try to do like, you're going to stick with the Mr. X. So like, we're just going to put this entirely new character in that like we don't really know much about. We're going to tie them into the story in that direction, like sort of like we're introducing the character first, now we're going to share how they fit into the story. I think that a lot of those things that have been spoiled by data mines are not possible, right? So we know that we have this character, but like the lore pieces, the sort of things that get us really excited about a character but you read about him 3 months before it actually happens. Like, we all know who Loba was before, before Loba actually was released because of the data mines. And we knew who this character was, but we don't really know much about their story.
Right.
So I'm super interested to see how it all comes together. And also, like, where was the story that we got in like the current season leading, if not to a new character?
Right.
Know?
Yeah. Those were sort of my thoughts too. But Andrew, what's your first impression of Rampart so far?
I freaking love it. Okay. We're not going to get into it yet, but they're rockets, right? And she's like a modder. She's clearly got some engineering, I think it's going to tie into the story is what I'm trying to say. And that like she perhaps is tied into what's happening on the map, and that she perhaps built the rockets, designed the rockets. I don't know. Had something to do with the construction.
Definitely. Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
But all the little details about her are so cool. Like personality, like Whitney had mentioned, we had a very, very early data mine a long time ago, which revealed a lot of legends. Rampart was one of them. And there was an image attached to Rampart that was just a typical big boy dude. And for it to be, someone completely different, I think she's got a lot of spunk and personality based on the fantastic job the animation team did, and the concept art that we've seen looks awesome. She seems like she's got a cool personality, a lot of cool stuff. And I love that they always have cool detail, like the trailer and everything. Even the description on the website, it reads, an expert modder who made her name in underground fight clubs. Like, what? Rampart talks big and has the ballistics to back it up. That is actually definitely a pun. Right. Rampart talks big and has the balls to back it up. So a lot of spunky, fun stuff that Respawn decided to add in with Rampart here. My first impression is that I like that it's a callback to one of the League Legends, and yet a totally different version we didn't expect. A lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Something I didn't do before the show I wish I had was look back at those Nova leaks. If you remember 4 or 5 weeks ago, there was some data mines that suggested the next character was going to be named Nova. Now, what sticks out in my mind is the bubblegum, right? Because I think that the concept art that was linked to Nova was a woman's face with blowing a bubble. So Nova and Rampart are probably the same character, I suspect, at this point. But what I'm curious, and I don't recall, is what we got about Nova's kit. I don't know if you guys remember what the data miners came up with for what Nova's kit would be. Was there?
I don't think that there was a kit, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
We didn't know about her abilities. They were new, like there was that new concept art and some false name, essentially.
Right. Okay. Well, then in that case, I guess I just want to kind of echo what Whitney said, in that the trailer is awesome. I love the reverse thing. I remember it from that zombie game, Dead Island. That Dead Island trailer is really famous for going backwards. This is kind of like that. It's also, according to my boss, it's from a Coldplay music video, if you're a fan. But on the other hand, we don't know anything about Rampart. There was no cool lead up this season. She's just a character. And one of the things that was so hype about Loba was knowing the connections and the story and where she came from. And so even though I think, like Angie said, like Rampart looks like a really interesting character, and she will definitely play into this season for the next story, and we'll get into that, she's just a character. And it's kind of what Overwatch does, is like, hey, here's the new character. You've never heard of them before, but they're here now. So from that aspect, not my all-time favorite launch trailer for a season, but obviously still really excited about it. What do you guys think about Sheila? Is that an alt? What do you think that is?
That was my least favorite part, because I don't like heavy weaponry. I don't like wielding it. I like mobility. I like R99s, wingmans. I like being able to move fast handling. So that's what makes me sad, is like I doubt I'll personally attach myself to Rampart if she's all about heavy weaponry and stationary but high firepower.
Yeah.
But as a concept, I think Sheila and having her huge gun, which I'm suspecting is her ult, yes, as a part of her kit, I think it's really creative and cool and something totally new and what have you. I just hope that it's not like a typical chain gun, I guess. Like, oh, it's a big chain gun you can mount and shoot at people with.
Yeah.
I hope there's some twist. I don't know.
So I think that... go ahead, Winnie.
Yeah, I mean, like, and just like, well, like, who is Sheila or what is Sheila? Like, that's what we're trying to just to, like, figure out. And I do think it's like we've seen the sort of naming trope for your electronics in the past, like Doc, the drone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's another one too. Who else? Crypto's drone has a name as well, which
Hack.
they alluded to last
Hack,
season.
yeah.
Yeah. But this is interesting. I mean, look, this is an out there theory, but Pathfinder's been looking for his creator, and she is a modder creator type person, and is clearly has a product with the name. And my first thing was just like, oh my gosh, are we meeting Pathfinder's creator? But
Whoa.
who knows, right?
I love your theories. It's stuff
I
I
do
never
too.
would have thought of.
Yeah, I'm already thinking of 50 things because there's a patch on Rampart's shoulder that's that new logo we're seeing everywhere with the R.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're like some sort of, group of modders or whatever, vigilante modder. I don't know. But maybe it's not exactly her, but someone from that organization. Anyways, I
Yeah.
digress. Cool idea.
So let's dig a little bit more into the trailer, because I think that if you really examine it, we get a pretty good idea of who Rampart is and what she does. At one point, I think it's Bangalore is standing behind what looks like some kind of an energy wall and is shooting through it. Now, I think we've heard of some characters that can make walls in the past, and with her name being Rampart, to me, it seems pretty obvious that her tactical ability or her ultimate ability is going to be able to put up these walls that your team can shoot through. That was sort of how I took it from the trailer. How Sheila works into that, I don't know. Maybe the wall is the tactical, and then the chain gun is the alt, maybe?
That's how I would also assume. And I like that you said can put up walls because I hope it's not just one. To me, that would be weak. But again, you can shoot through it and it blocks oncoming fire. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Because I remember the original concept did talk about how Rampart could just place deployable cover, and I was like, nah, that's been done. What is cool though is the passive at the time was that deployable cover was mounted on her back, and because of that, she took way less back damage, which I think is a really cool like passive idea
Interesting.
for a character. Yeah.
I like the idea of the shield because this is the first time that we've seen a shield that you can shoot through on one side. Because Gibraltar's dome shield, the idea is that use it because you can someone puts it up and then you're immediately like either in the shield or out of it trying to take shots, right?
Right.
And even with lifelines, like I know that if you shoot it enough, you can break it, but it's not super easy to do. And I love that this is like the first one that we're just like, theoretically, and according to this video, it looks like we're going to be able to, friendly fire through. And maybe not only friendly fire, I mean, you might even be able to use it if it's like already up and, your rampart's here and you're trying to get the team on the other side, but you know what I mean.
Mhm.
But I think it's pretty awesome. And also like, again, a mechanic that we haven't seen used in practice as of yet. And it sounds minor, but it's like actually a pretty significant deviation from the way that we sort of understand the shield, I guess, logic to work in this game. So it will be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, now I'm starting to wonder if that shield is, because it isn't in the trailer, but it may just be a new environmental element. So there's that possibility.
That too. Yeah.
But like you suggest, usually both like her full kit will be revealed in some way. So assuming it is, maybe even she gets extra charge for her chain gun or whatever ultimate speed based on how much damage is absorbed. I think there's a lot of things they can do with it.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things it could be. My gut says that if you can shoot through the shield, then the shield has to be breakable. That the shield has a health cap on it, and the enemies, if they shoot it enough, it'll break. My other initial thought is just how powerful that shield makes high ground, which is already gives you a huge advantage. But when you can stand on a roof or stand on high ground and put the shield up and literally just stand there and shoot the people below you without having to worry about cover, that sounds incredibly strong. Yeah, so we'll have to see. So let's talk about what other details are in the trailer. Whitney, you picked up on some clues near the beginning.
Well, I mean, I might be crazy, but it looks like we're looking at, we're looking at World's Edge here in the very first. I'm looking at second 3 right now. But you see like a little tip of like ice sort of block drop down.
Mhm.
And I think that implies that ice zone that used to be there is now going to be another planet harvester. Like that's what I'm sort of theorizing there.
So the way maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that ice is falling off of a rocket that says Hammond down the side of it.
Yeah, it shows that it's falling from the rocket itself, which yeah, is like frozen over because I'm watching the same thing you are.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
See
so
what I
maybe
mean?
that's the sort of indication then that but this planet harvester isn't in the same place as the other one, right? Because I'm trying to think where that dome is on the map if you look on the left hand
What
side.
planet harvester you were? I don't think there is a planet harvester. I think
Oh,
what
is
it's
it
going
I'm
straight
sorry.
down is the rocket itself.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it looks comparable in size to the planet harvester, and maybe even the scaffolding and such will mimic the harvester's like structural design because it is both Hammond
You
and
gotta
yeah.
forgive me because I haven't had I've like spent like writing for the gamer like hours poring over these trailers and like picking up all these things. And this time I didn't have a chance to do that. So
Yeah.
you have to forgive me for like not calling out the details that everybody else has already noticed. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
no,
Well,
I'm learning this at the same time as you.
yeah,
And we also know that it's right outside of Dome. So that is the same second reveals that sort of location.
yes.
We know exactly
yeah.
where this rocket's going to be.
Yeah, so let's talk about the rocket then. We've had some changes on the map over the last couple weeks. It started with some construction signs that went up around the map. I think there was probably 5 or 6 of them spread out around the map. That basically they were just small yellow signs that said the future work site of Hammond, right? I
Mhm.
think that's what they were.
Yeah.
And then the crane that's up in the corner by sorting, the crane came down and it was holding a box, and the box was on the ground, and on the box it said something about like rocket parts or something like that. I know I'm not getting this totally exactly right, but that's the gist of it. So that's when the theories started coming together, and I think that the things that we saw on Reddit and stuff over the last couple of weeks, it seems like they're starting to come true. In that, as the theory states, we're going to be building a rocket, or there will be a zone with a rocket in it, and that rocket will take us eventually to Olympus, the third map. That's sort of the working theory, and this trailer, I feel like, kind of confirmed that.
Yeah, I totally subscribe to that line of thinking and that idea chain.
Yeah. So the rocket is going to be set up as a new zone by Dome, it seems. Maybe we're going to have some changes all around the map, including Sorting Factory, where some rocket parts may be getting manufactured. And then we'll be going to Olympus, but I don't think we'll be going to Olympus this season.
Right.
And that's sort of the big thing I wanted to talk about, because if you had asked me 2 weeks ago when we finished Broken Ghost, I would have said like 100% confirmed. There it is. They announced Olympus. They said see in season 6. Our characters started talking about going there. Like, what more do you need? Outside of a Twitter post from Respawn saying Olympus season 6, that's a confirmation. And now it seems more and more likely that that's not the case. Am I crazy?
I feel like if I'm being practical, you're right in that it's probably not going to be season 6 and it'll be like season 7, just because without a doubt, something that is titled Apex Legends Season 6 boosted launch trailer, if we were going to have a new map, it would be revealed there. It'd be weird for them not to.
Yeah.
So now I've given up all hope that we'll see Olympus season 6 and can only hope for a very quick season 7 with Olympus arriving right then.
Yeah.
And that season 6 is all about that prep to getting to Olympus.
And I'm excited to see what they do to World's Edge, because they do have made some changes on it, but this seems rather significant. New maps are always great, but like we also need to sort of think that we've been spoiled, because we were spoiled with the first random new map when Fortnite took 2 years to get their first new map.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, so thinking about like the logistics of what that actually entails, like I don't know. I don't want to say too much of a good thing, but I mean, I think that like if they needed to do this to pace things properly internally in terms of what they were doing or where the story goes, then I'm cool with it. I would rather not be sort of teased Olympus and then not see it until season 10. Like that would annoy me. So
Yeah, that would. I'd be sad. But like you said, I think if they're going to give us a massive hulking rocket and some other map changes we have yet to see while we wait for it, I'm okay. Like that thing looks like it's going to be a cool area of the map.
I love build up. I love the hype train. I will ride it for multiple seasons. That's not what bothers me. And what's coming for season 6 looks cool, and I'm excited for it. Really, to be specific, the only problem I have is that I felt at the end of Broken Ghost that Olympus was being handed to us. It felt like, hey, this is coming, here we go. And that's not true. So
Yeah, the
okay, but
delivery
have you
was
ever
weird.
watched a movie where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get to a new place, but wait, now we have to go on the long road trip to get there."
The Mines of
That's what
Moria,
we're
you
doing.
know.
sure.
We're Dumb and Dumber, where Harry and Floyd or whatever their names were.
I totally get it. And it's
Sam's
I'm not so greedy for content that I'm like, where the heck's Olympus? My problem is they told us here's Olympus and now it's not here. That's really my only problem. I feel like the narrative on this was I feel like they shanked it a little bit. That's my problem.
Yeah, I can understand that criticism for sure.
But
yeah.
and maybe I feel dumb for like buying into the hype, you know. But it is what it is. I don't think this is a case of it being delayed. I know that there was a popular YouTuber / leaksman that was telling people it was getting delayed and that they wanted it to be ready, but it's buggy and stuff like that. This seems like part of the plan, especially with the rocket. Like if we have an entire season that leads up to us going there, this does not feel to me like some kind of delay for an unannounced piece of content.
Yeah, I doubt that as well.
But what it does feel like is we were led pretty hard to think we were going to Olympus right now, and we're not. When you flash on the screen like see you in season 6, right after you reveal the next map, that kind of sucks.
Dude, you gotta earn it. No, I understand. I mean, I'm with you. It's weird. It's weird, and like it actually makes me have like a lot of questions about like what is exactly going on with the storytelling. Because I'd have to say like I was a little on the disappointed side that you're just like bringing this character that we've never heard of, who maybe has some tie into the lore that we've heard already. But I love being able to sort of pre-solve things, or like watching the community pre-solve things. Like, why are we getting Ash, and what does that have to do with the future of the game? So the fact that we didn't have those little seeds is like, and maybe we'll go back and just be like, oh, actually they were telling us this all along. But certainly to my knowledge, nobody has done that yet.
Right.
And that I think is a little bit, again, it's just, there are lots and lots of different ways to tell stories, and they've done a lot of different creative things. But I would, things like new legends and new weapons and things like that are the kinds of things that you like to sort of try to figure out before someone tells you. It's that moment where you're like, oh, like you've ever watched a movie and you're like, oh, I know how this is going to end, before you actually see how it plays out. And you like sort of see that flag.
Yeah, you want to be
Everybody loves that
rewarded
little
for being an
moment.
engaged player, right?
Right.
You don't want things to just come completely out of nowhere.
Right. So it'll be interesting. I mean, again, I'm curious. I'm curious. There are a lot of signs that we didn't see as a community. I Googled to see if there's anything, but it just seems that this is also kind of the first that we've heard about this, at least within the lore of the game. I mean, obviously data miners sort of knew about what was happening here, but anyway.
There's also the potential, and this is something I'm hoping for, that season 6 is a shorter season.
That'd be cool.
We know that the last few seasons have all been extended in a way that they didn't originally plan for, and eventually they're going to have to make up that time, it would seem. So maybe there's a chance that we know what's going to happen in season 7. Hopefully, we are eventually going to go to Olympus, and if season 6 is the prelude, if the whole point of season 6 is to get us to Olympus in season 7, then maybe hopefully season 6 is a shorter season and we can get there sooner.
I mean, it is called boosted, so maybe they're boosting the accelerating speed.
Don't get my hopes up.
Yeah,
for Olympus around the corner.
Because honestly, I know not everyone feels this way, but now that they have told us, hey, new map, everything else is just time I'm waiting to get to that new map. Like season 6 will forever be in my mind a filler season, even if the content is fantastic.
Yeah.
Watch
Man.
it like come out and just like blow everybody's mind, and you're like filler season.
I don't think it's gonna be bad. It's not. Oh, you mean that season before we got Olympus? You know. But okay, we still have a lot of stuff to talk about. So
there's so much.
With the trailer, we also got some new season details. Some of it's vague, some of it's really exciting. So the first detail is a boosted battle pass. Wow, who would have thought? New battle pass. But not only will it include legendary skins and Apex packs, it will also include holo sprays.
Ooh,
What the heck?
That's really interesting too, because I feel like the community was asking for like basically, okay. So there was this idea that like emotes are kind of silly in certain communities. We've already seen them in Destiny. We've already seen them in Fortnite. And Fortnite does have like these sprays that you can do, spray paint. People, you've probably seen the memes where people tag, when they're in their boxes or whatever.
Yeah.
But excuse me, I got so excited I had to cough about it. I think that it is cool that they have some way to interact and sort of potentially be funny or interesting or cool within a game in those moments that are just kind of boring otherwise. Because right now, if you're playing with randoms or whatever, and you want to kind of meme with them or try to do something, but you don't feel like talking, like all you're doing is like the little crouch motion, right?
Right.
Whereas like these holo sprays, if I understand it, or if I, whatever it is, I mean, I assume anyway, it's just kind of like a thing that you can do in the game. That would be kind of cool, right? I assume that's what it is. I haven't even paid that enough attention.
That's literally all we know is that it's called holo sprays. So Andrew, what do you think that means?
I feel like it's just going to be some spray mechanic, which we've seen, but it'll be Apex Legends Holo version, and we definitely know like it's got to be, some like the entire theme, artistically speaking, of this scene is graffiti. It's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if you go to this page that tells the details, it's like tons of graffiti. It's graffiti type colors, like brighter colors. We got holo sprays. We saw the graffiti on the Hammond signs, which we should maybe talk about a little bit.
Right.
The graffiti all over the Hammond signs, which was done by this faction that apparently Rampart's part of. So yeah, it all kind of ties in. I'm still impressed on those small little details with Apex, and like even that season 6 icon, like the Apex Legends logo is dripping like it's fresh paint.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely going to be some spray mechanic. If they didn't, that would be crazy. You'd be like saying, see you at Olympus, and then releasing another season and then not having Olympus in that season. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, why would that'd be crazy.
So yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, hopefully, it doesn't cheapen the game or trash it up with sprays everywhere. There's a way that they moderate it so that it's just like a slight cheeky thing you can do.
Yeah.
I like moderated things like that, but we'll see.
That's definitely my concern too. I don't want the world to get covered in tags. So I mean, and the simplest way to do that is to just have them last for 4 seconds or whatever, and then they fade.
Or one player gets one per match.
Yeah. So yeah, I also agree. I hope they're limited. Holo sprays makes me think that either they're going to be sprays that have an effect, like a color sweep or something that they do, or that they're actually going to be 3-dimensional sprays, and you spray some sort of like holographic object.
So cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. And the best part of it is that maybe some of on the battle pass, some of those holo sprays take up the slot of some of those trackers that we were getting every season. That'd be the most exciting thing to me. Throw every tracker away and replace them with holo sprays. I like that. I'm a happy
If they would just do away with trackers.
Yeah.
Oh man, that'd be the greatest day of Apex.
Yeah, that would be great. So very excited about that. Go ahead and clear up what you were saying about the sprays on the signs, because that wasn't something I picked up on.
It's just a small little tidbit that I'm curious about. I don't have any answers, but I can bring it up as a topic. Essentially, Rampart's got that R thing. I keep calling it a faction, but I'm thinking maybe it's just her logo. Maybe it's just her insignia. Yeah. So that's probably what it is now that I've said it 3 times out loud. So we know that she sabotaged those Hammond signs, which means that she doesn't like Hammond.
Who does anymore?
Yeah, and originally when I talked about her like a couple of minutes ago, I was like, well, maybe she's an engineer of some type of designer who has something to do with the building of the rocket. So maybe she's an unhappy conscripted worker by Hammond, or she's not at all involved with building the rockets, which would be weird, and wants to stop Hammond's project going to Olympus. Who knows? I just think it's really interesting, and she's clearly, even though we've given such small information, it asks a lot of those questions.
Yeah.
I would like to add just on that, and maybe you're planning to get to this, but I'm going to jump the gun on it.
Totally done.
No, but there was something in the words that happened in the universe of Apex where there was a hint that Titanfall 3 is gonna come. And I love this idea of like building up this squad that's very anti-Hammond and sort of re-seeing these characters again in some Titanfall 3 context eventually further down the road. So maybe the story is building out to that. Maybe it's not. Maybe that's the culmination is Titanfall 3, you know? That would be amazing. That would be incredible. I think you'd have a lot of very happy Titanfall players too. But I do sort of think that like we're seeing more and more people pulling away from what this like Hammond entity is supposed to be. And everybody already sort of like if you remember, like, I forget which season it was. I want to say season 4. They had all those things like Hammond loves you. Hammond is a great company, and that was when they introduced the Planet Harvester. So they're pissing off a lot of people right now. So anyway, I love to see right now we have everybody fighting each other, but then maybe further down the road, it's seeing the entire contingent battle against, you know, whatever's happening at Hammond, right?
A Titanfall reveal in Apex is the only way they can do a Titanfall 3 reveal, but I can't imagine that happening anytime for a very long time. But
and they've done the drawn out storytelling. So even if this is 2, 3, 4 years down the road, like you're still setting the seeds for that to happen. And maybe there's a lot that happens in the interim, right? But
yeah, for sure. Yeah. And like I can totally see Titanfall 3 having a completely original story, but with Apex kind of serving as the gap between Titanfall 2 and 3. That would be really cool. And you know, it seems like that's already what they're doing. Regardless of if Titanfall 3 ever actually happens, like that groundwork is there just by nature of the way they're telling the story. Okay, let's talk about crafting. Our next beat on the reveal was it just says introducing crafting. Don't like your gear, collect materials around the map and build something better. Andrew, what the heck is that?
To me, it's probably like a hyperscape thing where if you have a white armor and you collect 5 more white armors, it'll turn blue. But to me, that like I don't know. It's just a guess.
I don't want that.
Too similar to Evo.
I don't want that.
Yeah, to me, anything to do with crafting instantly worries me.
Yeah.
What is this, Minecraft? Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm worried about the balance, I guess, that crafting seems to imply it's going to affect the way you acquire loot. Is like such a big deal in Apex. It's huge.
Right.
And if they're going to change that, I hope they do it correctly. I don't know. Like that was my first thought. It was just like, what is it going to be like Hyperscape? Or if you keep finding duplicate stuff, you can eventually change it to something better. I don't know. It's too vague for me to you know, to like speculate too deep down any rabbit holes. I think I'm just going to wait and see and hope that it doesn't affect balance too much.
What do you think, Whitney?
It's actually like kind of terrifying because assuming that crafting introduces entirely new mechanic, that we haven't play tested this. Their playtest audience is just Respawn, and then like the people that like they've hired sort of contracted. But a lot of times when they've tested stuff like the Evo Shield, for instance, they've done it in the sort of controlled setting where they see if it works. So it is kind of scary to just be like, well, we're actually introducing this whole mechanic and we trust it so much that we don't think everybody's going to hate it. Because if they do, and maybe it's small, but I do kind of like the idea of, let's say, trying to think of a good example. Okay, let's say that, you know, we see our wingman and it's a pistol right now. But like, let's say that if you go and you take the extra steps to craft by finding the different pieces, maybe they're at set locations, maybe they're not, you can make it shoot as rapidly as the P2020 or something like that, right? Oh my gosh, your mind exploded, Finn, right there.
No, I'm
But I
just
feel
thinking
like
how
it's
overpowered that would be.
yeah, well, again, and it's just like that was like the first example I thought of, and like there would be some trade-off for that because maybe it only have 3 shots or something, but you can do it really quickly. But I do kind of like the idea that if you're putting some effort into it, like maybe there's a standard, for instance, like the Peacekeeper. But if you do like the sort of crafting element, it's a Peacekeeper that instead of using shotgun ammo uses light ammo or something like that. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of creative things that you can do with it, but I do think it's got to be something that sort of like rewards not just looting because like we loot like and I don't want to be that person, but like I don't think and nobody wants to loot more really. I
Yeah.
mean, if you ask like the really solid grindy players, like how do you want to play this, they're not just like, well, I just want to loot for 20 minutes and then just like have a gun and then just go in there at the final circle.
Yeah.
um
Very
but
true.
I do think if they can find a creative way to sort of take the weapons and the weapons that we already know and sort of give us more options. We already have like the single shot, uh, to burst and stuff like that. But I want to kind of see just like, okay, like what if this is also overpowered, but like what if we make the hemlock into an energy weapon if we have the right crafting materials or whatever it is? I mean, again, it's just like if this is an option, could change the way ranked games are played. It could change the way pubs are played.
Yeah, I'm pretty nervous about it, to be honest. Because we have, with no other information but those 2 sentences, I have a lot of concerns. I'm concerned that, like Andrew said, it'll be too overpowered. I'm concerned that it'll get me stuck in menus more, which I absolutely don't want in Apex. But I'm also concerned that it'll be totally pointless. Will it be too powerful or will it be completely pointless? Those are those are my 2 big concerns
Yeah.
about it.
I do wonder if like maybe what we're really looking at, and we're overthinking this, but is like let's say that like I need an extended mag, and I can't find an extended mag, like a purple extended mag, level 4, level 3. But let's say that like there's a level 3 crafting material and a level 1 magazine, then you're just like, well, this is another option for me to combine those things. But let's say that like I don't now have to choose between or now I don't have to only find like let's say a heavy mag or how am I saying this? Like a level 3 heavy mag or a level 3 light mag, because you can just be like, well, I have a crafting material and it's a level 3 crafting material. And so I can take either one of those and craft into whichever one I want. So if the only, so I'm not stuck with like a level 3 light mag when what I really need is a level 3 heavy mag, right?
Yeah,
Does that make sense? That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and
yeah,
to me maybe that's almost like a fairer way to do things, just because you do. I mean, this game is so it's very, very contingent on the RNG. And I do think that if there's an option that it's just like, well, I got a level 2 something, and I can combine it with whatever piece of gear I think it's going to be most effective for, and everyone's going to choose the shield first, right?
yeah,
Um, then you're not necessarily like just constantly. It's another option. Like you can't find a blue shield, but you found a blue crafting material and a white shield. Now now the other player doesn't have the advantage on you when they come at you with the blue shield.
yeah.
So
So okay, so to follow that example, just to take that at face value, if I have a white mag on my gun and the choice is between using that white mag or finding a blue heavy mag and a blue crafting material and opening my inventory and putting them together and turning that into a blue light mag so I can use it on my light gun, I'm just going to use the white mag. I
Yeah, I
do
totally
not
agree.
want to do any of that.
Yeah, the way you put it earlier, anything that puts me in more menus is a mistake, is brilliant. That's all there is to it. Like, don't introduce mechanics that make players do more things in menus.
Right.
That's really all there is to it. Apex is an incredible game, and emphasis on game. Like, it's
Yeah.
fun to play. But if you're spending your time like doing recipes like League of Legends, all right, I'm out.
And we all know how precious inventory space is right now. Do I want to carry crafting material around for the opportunity that I find the wrong part for my gun? You know,
Yeah.
like, obviously we're making this all up. This could not be how any of it works, but this is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah,
Well,
me too.
Go, to like say that just like I imagine that like a mechanic like this would be introduced theoretically to prevent like someone winning just merely because two people found gold shields because they just dropped in a place where there happened to be gold shields. And then so like now they just have an immediate advantage from people who've looted everywhere, but because there's only 3 gold shields on the map and the other team got them, now they're saying like theoretically it could just be like, well, we can upgrade you even though this isn't actually a product that exists in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if there's an intuitive way to introduce crafting that's very, like, again, emphasis on intuitive, where you're not having to do all this stuff that we were speculating about earlier, and it'll actually help the balance rather than hurt it, then sure, but it all just depends on their execution. So
yeah,
that's really what it comes down to.
Maybe it's as simple as you open a pill, there's blue crafting material, you pick it up, whichever gun you have equipped, it's going to upgrade the lowest piece on it. So if you got a white barrel and a blue stock and a blue clip, it's going to turn that white barrel into a blue barrel. Maybe it's that simple. And if you switch your other equipped gun, it'll upgrade that one. That I think is kind of cool. Yeah. I guess that would be kind of cool. But I am hesitant about it, and that's the first thing I want to learn about. Before we get the Rampart background comic book trailer, I want a breakdown of the crafting system. That's what I'm most interested about right now. But that'll be cool because I'm sure we'll get that stuff next Tuesday. We'll get one trailer or another or some stuff, and we'll be able to talk about it next week. Okay, and then the last thing on our list is a new gun.
Yep.
Which we can all get excited about because it is
100%.
the Energy SMG, the Volt. Now, wasn't the biggest Titanfall 2 player, but I remember the Volt, and it was a monster. This thing, now they didn't have like energy type, like they didn't have the same type of ammo types then. It shot blue trace rounds, I think, but it was like an Energy SMG. You would only hip fire this thing. It was crazy accurate hit scan, and it had an unbelievable effective range. You could shoot this thing from a mile away, and it would do maximum damage still. Like, the Volt was nuts. It was just like this hip fire killing machine. It didn't have the highest or it didn't have the lowest TTK in the game. It wasn't like the strongest rounds or anything, but it was like oppressive. It felt like when you use that thing, like you were playing Quake or something, because you would just run around hip firing dudes down like so fast. That gun was nuts. So I'm sure it's going to get Apexified in a way, but we've been talking about an Energy SMG since season 2. So like, this is pretty cool. Andrew, what are your expectations? What do you think about it?
I'm happy boy, okay? Because as I mentioned earlier, this is the stance that you must undertake, okay? I like lighter weaponry. I like the stuff where you can run around and kill people and be incredibly mobile doing it. I notoriously don't like picking up very strong weapons such as the Havoc and the Devotion, because I don't want anything that's going to make me kind of slow down. I like the immediacy of response from weapons, which I doubt the Volt will maybe give me, but just the fact that it says SMG and it has energy in there makes me happy, because now I won't completely ignore every energy weapon because the Volt will be a good compromise and an interesting, because energy just packs a punch and SMG is supposed to be light, mobile, and less damage. So consolidating those two concepts, it will be cool just to see how they do it. I hope it doesn't break the game. I hope I enjoy the weapon and use some more energy.
Well, I mean, and I'm excited too, but like, they really like threw us for a loop with that L star, which I don't think is a weapon really anybody likes that much at this point in the game. Because it for a while was a care package weapon. I know that they balance things, right? But they were basically like, oh wait, we realized that y'all like the devotion a lot better. So, I don't want to get my hopes up too much because like the L-Star like has continually been like kind of a disappointment. It's not a terrible gun, but like if you have a choice between that and I don't know, 70% of the other guns in the game, like you're probably going to choose one of the other guns, right? It's like up there, it's like somewhere between Mozambique / Peep 2020 and like I don't know, Havoc, right?
Mhm.
But you sort of want it to be a little more balanced than that. So I feel like I don't know, a rapid fire energy weapon. I feel like we could have had that with the L Star. Um, so I'm just curious because I mean, again, you don't want anything that's overpowered and so tough that it's annoying, but
Yeah.
you also don't want anything that's like so useless that you only use it as much as you use the L Star.
Yeah. I think it's a great time for an SMG because really the way the game works is that if you find an alternator, you use it to equip your mods until you find an R99, and then you just use an R99. So if we can have another option to the R99, that's great. I expect it to be stronger, to hit harder than the R99, but to be less accurate. That's just an assumption I have based on the way energy weapons tend to work in this game. So it'll be fun to experiment with, and I would assume that it technically has a lower TTK than the R99 will, but that it'll be harder to control. That'll kind of be the trade-off, or at least that's the way I hope it works. Yeah, I just hope it's a fun gun. I like energy guns. I like the L-Star better than you guys do, but I know it's not
Hey,
most
I didn't say
people's.
anything about the L-Star. I like the L-Star too. I don't think it's bad. I just hate using it indoors because it blinds you completely still.
Yeah.
And this is after they nerfed, I think it's muzzle flash. I could be
Right.
wrong on that, but like I still will pick that up in Sorting Factory inside of Sorting Factory, and then can't once I begin firing, it's just guesswork because it's so freaking bright and you can't see anything.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a decent gun. I particularly favor it off the drop. I like seeing L stars. I'm like, good, I can use this. I don't have to reload. But
Yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I never use it late game. Even mid game, I won't use an L star. But it's not that bad for the beginning game purpose.
It's also probably safe to assume that it won't have many mod slots. Like the energy weapons don't have barrels. I don't think.
Oh, that'd be nice. So that's the only thing I don't like about R99 is if you don't have a mag and at least some type of barrel, it's actually pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad with no mag on it, honestly.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to have a low maintenance weapon. I think one of my favorite wingman metas was when it only could equip a heavy mag. Because I'm like, it's so low maintenance. I can just pick up a wingman and pretty much I'm chilling.
Right.
But
yeah. Well, I think it's safe to assume there will be a lot more changes than just what we have here for the next season. We might have a rotation for what weapons are in the drops. We might even have a new hop up or something. But I'm most excited for the Volt because this time last season when they told us that there wasn't going to be a new gun, and they told us that they felt like the number of guns in the game was what they wanted, we started to get a little bit worried that they weren't going to keep adding guns. And we know they can't take them out, or they're unwilling to take them out because people have spent money on skins and stuff. So if they're not going to take guns out and they're happy with how many guns there are, then are we actually ever going to get new guns? And I mean, the answer is yes, we are. So I'm really excited about the Volt. It's a gun everybody
But
wanted.
are we ever actually going to get to Olympus?
Are we ever going to get to Olympus? Season 6, the filler season. If things go as they normally have, I mentioned this before, but we'll have a trailer for Rampart next week. We'll have some dev posts that explain some concepts. Hopefully we'll get a look at the battle pass, but that might not be until a couple days before launch. And hopefully we get an explanation of this crafting system. So
When
yeah.
is the launch? It's August 18th is the projected launch, right?
August 18th, yeah. So we've got this week, we've got the dead week without challenges where we'll be doing Always Be Closing, and then it starts. So show's back on. We'll have a lot to talk about over the next... Oh, and are we going to have a new quest line next season, right? We got to find out about that too. Are we going to have Broken Ghost Chapter 2? Because we probably don't have a show if we don't. to be honest. That's what keeps us going every week.
They have added things. Like they've done these releases and then added like the sort of season 6 info to the
Mhm.
page as there's become more stuff. But yes, like quests were a big intro last year, so I find it weird that we're not already hearing about it, whether or not other
I don't think
people
we're
are.
gonna have. So I'm gonna be honest.
No
I think
quest?
there's like 0% chance we're gonna have a quest
Mm.
in season 6.
Really?
At least not at the beginning. Yeah, they would definitely have announced it. Like 100%, it would be one of these things.
You're
And
right. It probably would have said new quest here. Yeah.
yeah, because this is not something you just kind of like, oh yeah, we're doing this too. We just decided. No, you have to work on that for a really long time. It's an incredibly deep thing. So I don't have evidence for this, of course, but
Filler
I
season,
have no
dude.
Well,
yeah, 0% chance in my
but
head.
But hasn't Respawn continually blown us away with its ability to tell stories in a sort of unique array of ways? So I'm not giving up hope that they are planning or plotting. If it's not necessarily a big reveal, it's still something that's like big. That's like,
Yeah.
No, yeah, don't get me wrong. This isn't a criticism. I think part of
no,
the reason I even think there's 0% chance is because they received so much feedback on this
Right.
that they probably are revamping how they're going to do the next one. There's no way it's
yeah.
going to be this quick.
Yeah. And like here's the thing, right? Seasons take a long time to plan out. They've been working on season 6 for a really long time before this. So they don't have the ability to make changes quickly. That's just not how the pipeline works. However, season 5 was their biggest season yet. It had the most players, it was the most popular. So we know that moving forward they're going to base things off of how popular season 5 was. But I don't think I think Andrew's right. We shouldn't expect that season 6 is going to build off of 5 necessarily.
Yeah.
So, filler season, forgettable. Who needs it? Moving on.
I don't know. Like
And it's also the season where we meet Blisk. That's all. Filler season.
I'm hopeful, and I'm also really again. I'm going back to the beginning of the podcast. I'm super excited for Rampart. I think I would have never expected this was going to be Rampart based on the leak, and it just looks like a cool character design. The gap in the tooth,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. All right, the small things. I like the vibes are good. I'm super excited. To me, the biggest thing is I hope it's a short season, like you brought up.
I hope it's a short season.
Everything. I'm super happy if it's a short season. If it's not, then yeah, I have a lot of worries, especially without a quest. But who knows? Maybe there will be one, and I'm totally wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited that next week we will have been doing the show for an entire season cycle because we started a week before season 5, and next week will be a week before season 6. So that's really exciting. And if you've been watching the show or listened to it, we really appreciate it. We took a little break, but we're back and we're really excited for season 6. So that's it. We'll see you next week, and we'll have a bunch more news to talk about then.
Yeah, share your theories with us. We'd love to hear it. And, be sure to catch our streams. The Gamer will definitely be streaming.
Yeah, I forgot plugs. Whitney's stream, Lumbago on Twitch. Spell it, Whitney.
LUMBA3GO.
And the Finster.
PHINTTV.TV/TV/4/TVs on Twitch. Find me there.
And on the Gamers Facebook page, we have been streaming nonstop, all day, every day. Just kidding, but every day we have been streaming. We've been streaming some Fall Guys, everybody's favorite new game. I opened some Pokemon cards this week, and I'm going to open a lot more Pokemon cards on stream because it went really well. So if you're into that kind of stuff, check out the Gamers Facebook page. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Bye.